Well, in a world where death and destruction plagues the front page of newspapers and television, unfortunately, how do we mentally prepare our young people for the real world? Joining us live this morning in our studio to help answer that question, we have Dr. Dana Andrus. He's a mental health specialist, an educator, and an inspirational speaker. Joining us live this morning just to provide some insight. Good to see you as always. I like to call you Dr. Truth.
Call me Dr. Truth, the whole truth and nothing but
the truth. Now, we were talking during the break about the story that ran. You saw the story about NOPD coming into neighborhoods and helping people, you know, allowing people to join or at least apply online, on site. You said that was a great thing.
Actually, it was one of the better ideas I've seen yet, because a lot of times, if you say that you're really about the people, instead of letting the people come to you, they may be somewhat reserved, but NOPD has stepped up their game and said, we're going to take it to the people, which means that now you're going into the community in a more proactive way instead of reactive way, coming in, having to deal with the violence. So now that's the part of the community spirit.
Let's talk about that violence. Our young people, what is your take?
Well, from a clinical perspective, I think that one of the things we have to start addressing is looking at NOPD as an institution. Look at our youth as an institution. Because in every institution, you're going to have some flaw. But the flaw has to come out in order to make the institution better. So these issues that may have happened in Miami or happened in Missouri and whatever, all that was doing was exposing possible flaw as growth begins to take place to make the institution better. Now, what happens with the children, we keep addressing them as individuals, but they are part of a family unit. So when the police come at the young male for whatever reason, actually he's coming at the institution of the family because someone is not doing their job.
So it's not just one person.
It's not just one person. It's the unit. It's the group.
What needs to be done?
We need to have more of the family being responsible, being represented, every time we deal with one of our youth. If the young male is in trouble, we need to connect him to his mother, his father, or his grandmother, whoever's involved with him, because for that boy to be out of control, someone let him get out of control. And then we expect law enforcement to come along and put him back in control, but we want to do it in such a way that everybody's happy. A lot of time it's not going to happen that way. What
can parents do to make sure their child is healthy mentally and physically? And then I want you to touch on the issue of single moms raising young men.
To work with children, you have to start with the base. Fundamentals, then developmentals, but even at the very base level, certain issues like, and I found out in my practice, a lot of our children don't even take vitamins. And you'll be surprised what that does to the brain, the lack of it, the deficiency of it, and how it works against the brain, which allows the children not to make good choices or sound decisions. So there's a lot of basic things that parents can do at their level, the fundamental level, and then take the time to teach their children, because if it's worth remembering, it's worth repeating. And as parents learn to just take some time and aggressively work with their children and teach them, then all the institutions can come together, and then that'll make a better society. Single moms, your work is cut out. Whatever you expose your son to, that's going to determine what kind of man that he's going to be. And I always tell parents, make sure that whatever males that you bring around your son is the kind of male that you want to see your son grow up to be. Because if you bring him around nothing, he's going to be nothing. Bring him around somebody that's mediocre, then that's what he's going to be, mediocre. But if you bring him around men that are strong, enterprising, understands that the mark of a real man has to do with resiliency, falling down and getting back up, that child will get up and rise to the occasion. And
you're not in it by yourself.
No.
Before we run out of time, there's help out there.
There's so many available resources out there and so many nonprofit agencies that want to be a part of the process. Whether they do it in school, pastors, in your churches, you have a responsibility also to go beyond the books and start looking at reality and working both together. And I'll be surprised. You will be surprised just how well our children will turn out.
That is the truth, the whole truth, and
nothing but the truth.
From Dr. Truth.
From Dr. Truth.
So to get in contact with Dr. Dana Andrus, all you have to do is log on to truthlink2150.com. Once again, truthlink2150.com. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have a good morning.
We'll be right back.